I'm 73 now, and for a long time I believed that slowing down meant becoming useless. So I kept doing things my body couldn't handle anymore. Lifting heavy furniture, pushing through pain, refusing help. Every time my body said no, my pride said yes, and I paid for it. Last year, I tried to help my son move. I threw out my back for 3 weeks. I couldn't even go to his housewarming party. Lying there in pain, I finally understood the truth. I wasn't fighting age. I was fighting my pride. My name is Harold, and for the past 10 years, I've been exhausting myself trying to be someone I'm not anymore. Every time my body said no, I forced it to say yes. Every time I needed rest, I pushed through. Every time someone offered help, I refused. I told myself that's what men do. But here's what actually happened. I kept getting hurt. I was irritable most of the time, and I was too tired to enjoy my own life. That's not strength. That's stubbornness, and it was slowly wearing me down. Today, I want to tell you what finally made me realize I was the problem, what I had to let go of, and what I gained when I stopped trying to be someone I'm not anymore. If you're a man in your 60s or 70s, exhausted from trying to keep up with the version of yourself from years ago, this might be exactly what you need to hear. Because the truth is simple, you're not that guy anymore. And that's not a loss, it's a fact. And facts don't care about your ego. Here's how I knew I was the problem. I kept comparing myself to the man I was at 40. Every time I couldn't do something, lift something heavy, work a full day without feeling drained, remember things as quickly as I used to, I got angry at myself. Not disappointed, angry. Like I was failing some kind of test. And it wasn't just in my head. I kept getting hurt trying to prove I still could. That furniture incident, it wasn't the first time. I'd pulled muscles, strained my back, pushed through pain I should have listened to. All because I didn't want to admit I needed help. I wasn't just hurting myself physically. I was exhausting myself trying to live a life that no longer fit. I kept saying yes to everything. Every family request, every obligation, every situation where I thought I was supposed to show up and handle things. Even when I was tired, even when I didn't want to go. And the worst part wasn't the fatigue, it was the bitterness. Watching younger men do things easily that now drained me made me resentful. Not toward them, toward myself. And that quiet resentment was slowly poisoning everything. So why couldn't I let go? Why did I keep pushing myself like this? Honestly, because I thought being a man meant never admitting you're slowing down. I grew up in a time when men didn't talk about limitations. You powered through. You didn't complain. You didn't ask for help. And you definitely didn't admit you couldn't do something anymore. Somewhere along the way, I started believing that if I admitted I was getting older, I was admitting I was becoming useless. Here's what scared me most. I thought if I couldn't fix things, lift things, do things, then what was I good for? My whole life, I was the guy people called when something needed doing. Need help moving? Call Harold. Lawn needs mowing? Harold's your guy. Sink leaking? Harold can fix it. That was my identity. So when my body started saying, not anymore, I panicked because if I'm not the guy who fixes things, then who am I? The turning point came after that furniture incident. I was laid up for weeks, and my son said something that hit me hard. He said, "Dad, I didn't need you to lift the couch. I needed you to be at my housewarming party next week, but now you can't come because you're hurt." That's when it clicked. I wasn't helping him by trying to be strong. I was robbing him of my presence by refusing to admit my limitations. So I made a decision. I was going to stop competing with the man I was at 40. I was going to accept who I am now, limitations and all. And here's what that meant in practice. I stopped trying to do physical work I couldn't handle anymore. When my daughter asked me to help with yard work, I said, "I can't do the heavy lifting, but I can supervise and keep you company." She was fine with that. More than fine, actually. Take exercise, for example. I'd been a runner for 40 years, but my knees were done. Years of pounding pavement caught up with me. I kept trying anyway, even when every step hurt, even when what used to be a run looked more like a hobble. Because in my head, stopping meant giving up. But one day I realized something important. I wasn't giving up on fitness. I was changing how I did it. So I started swimming, walking, stretching. And honestly, I feel better now than I did when I was destroying my knees, trying to prove I was still the runner I was at 40. Adaptation isn't weakness, it's intelligence. I started choosing where I spent my energy. I used to say yes to everything because that's what I did when I was younger. Now I say no to the things that drain me, so I have energy for what actually matters. Sunday dinners with family? Yes. Random social obligations? No. Time with my grandkids? Absolutely. Every single invite to every single event? Not anymore. I stopped comparing myself to younger men. When I see someone my son's age doing something I can't do anymore, instead of feeling bitter, I remind myself, I did that once too. I had my turn. Now it's theirs. That shift changed everything. The bitterness just disappeared. And I let go of the idea that my worth is tied to my productivity. I worked for 50 years. I provided for my family. I did my part. I don't need to prove anything to anyone anymore, including myself. Here's what happened when I finally let go. I stopped getting injured all the time. Turns out when you don't push your body like it's still young, it doesn't break down as much. My relationships got better. My kids stopped worrying about me. My wife stopped nagging me to slow down. And here's the part I didn't expect. I started enjoying life more. The other day, my grandson asked me to tell him a story about when I was young. Not to run with him, not to lift him, just to sit there and talk. And I realized something important. That's what he'll remember. Not whether I could still move furniture, not whether I was still strong, just that I was there, present, listening, sharing. I'm not sitting around doing nothing. I still swim. I still read. I still spend time with my grandkids. But I'm not trying to impress anyone anymore. When my grandson asks me to go fishing, I say yes, not because I need to prove I can still cast a line, but because I actually want to be there. That's the difference. I'm doing things because I want to, not because I'm trying to prove something. Here's what I learned. Accepting your limitations doesn't make you weak. It makes you honest. And there's strength in that honesty. More strength than there is in pretending you're still something you're not. The man I was at 40 was strong, capable, hardworking. I'm proud of him, but I'm not him anymore. And trying to be him was making me miserable. The man I am now is different, slower, more tired, less physically capable, but also more at peace, more present, more grateful for what I have instead of bitter about what I've lost. My body doesn't work the way it used to. My energy isn't what it was. I can't do everything I could do at 40 or even at 60. And I'm finally okay with that. Better than okay, actually, because fighting against reality is exhausting. And I spent too many years exhausted. If you're holding on to the man you used to be, let me tell you something. He's gone. That version of you had his time. Now it's time for this version. And this version has something the younger one didn't: perspective, patience, and the wisdom to know what actually matters. Stop fighting yourself. You'll lose that fight every time. Accept who you are now, and you might be surprised by how good that feels. If this felt familiar, you might want to stay here. Subscribe for more honest conversations about aging without pretending, without shame. Leave a comment. Are you still trying to be the man you were at 40, or have you let that guy go? Thank you for watching. See you next time.